Whilst walking in the streets or malls of the bigger Philippine cities, I'm invisible to Filipinas nowadays. They don't even look my way. But when a Filipino walks past with an elderly foreigner on tow, she's eagerly sizing up the bulge of my wallet, checking out my personality, considering whether I'd be a better option than the muppet she's currently manipulating. You think you're so special? Do you think she wants you, Bobby Oddbollocks? I don't mean to scare you, buddy, but she doesn't give two crows about your split personality. She ain't getting out of bed for 2,000 pesos a day. All she's interested in is what you, Johnny Foreigner, can provide for her. You are interchangeable and disposable, discarded for a better offer.
Hello, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Big World Cinema. Without further ado, we'll continue with what you're here for.
Having been in the Philippines for 5 years now, I can count the actual number of potential Filipinas that I've met in the flesh on one hand, as opposed to the majority I meet online. I've spoken about meeting this pretty young Filipina in Iligan City in June 2024, but not the denouement of the story, so I'll bring you up to scratch with the story so far. I was travelling in Mindanao, had caught a ferry from Dumaguete to Dapitan and a bus to Oroquieta. Few foreigners visit this small town, and whilst walking the streets there I met Oscar, a lovely guy from El Salvador, living in Oroquieta with his Filipino wife. Oscar said if I wanted to meet a lovely, loyal Filipina, I should go to Iligan City. This wasn't the first time Iligan City had appeared on my radar, as I'd numerously heard that a lot of Mindanao hotties resided in that city. I hadn't been planning on visiting Iligan City, as it was off my intended route. I was heading southwest into the red zone, into the no-go areas of Pagadian and Zamboanga City. But looking at the map, I discovered there was a ferry from Ozamis to Iligan City, so decided to change my route and head there first. I'd booked into Vaqueto's place, a lovely guest house. As I was sat having brunch in the dining room of the guest house, a Filipina walked past me from behind and turned to check me out. She was petite and slim, extremely pretty, was carrying a child in her arms. Now I know a Filipina's age is difficult to judge, could be anything from 16 to 30, but this girl looked around 15. Surely that baby wasn't hers, I thought. Hello, I said. Asked if the child was hers. Yes, she said. Who are you here with? I asked. Just as I said that, a foreigner walked into the room from behind me, and the girl indicates she's with him, gesticulating by raising her nose and lips that Filipinas love to do. Then he quickly whisked her away, out the front door. For the next hour, I remained at the table, writing my journal, and as they returned from their lunch and walked past me, the girl smiled at me. Shortly after, I returned to my room on the second floor overlooking the garden. The couple are in the garden, with the girl's eyes constantly following me around. What's going on? This girl's supposedly with this guy, but she keeps staring at me. Whilst sat working in my room with the door open, the girl all of a sudden walks past my room, and I take the opportunity to talk to her. After all, my landing doesn't lead anywhere apart from to the room next door, and their room is below mine, so the girl has no reason to be up on that floor. said she'd come upstairs for a better view of the garden, and quickly tells me that that morning the German guy she's dating, who she'd been chatting with online for 4 months but had only met for the first time 4 days earlier, had told her he wasn't ready to be with her. Back home in Germany, he had a 7-year-old daughter living with his ex-wife. He was 52. Chris was 20. I told Chris that she's beautiful. I know, she responded, not being modest at all. I asked for her number. Once she returned to her room, we immediately started chatting on WhatsApp. Spent a lot of that afternoon and evening exchanging messages. Chris asked where I was from, said she liked my face, but that I needed to shave. The German guy would be leaving in a couple of days' time, and Chris would be staying at her brother's house in Iligan City. Said she'd like to meet me then, but her brother is strict, so could meet me in July or August, either in Iligan or in Bukidnon. It was as if Chris had already decided she wanted to be with me. By the way, how old are you? 30 plus or 40 plus? She asked. I'm 63. No, I don't believe. Please tell me the truth. I think you're 40 plus. Younger than the German guy, she thought. No, I'm 63, I said. Not normally being that upfront, telling my real age. Chris said that when I smiled at her and said hello, her mind was now clear and her heart now healed. Gosh. Maybe this was why Oscar, the guy from El Salvador, had directed me to Iligan City, as if he already knew this would happen. The following morning, Chris messaged me with a selfie. Sat in the garden with her daughter, she kept looking up at me. I was wanting to film her, but suddenly the German guy appeared in the frame, so I wasn't able to. That morning, as I sat in the breakfast room, Chris walked past me to step into a waiting taxi. There was no turning back that day. For the next couple of days after the German had left and Chris was now at her brother's in Iligan City, we continued exchanging messages, although much less intense as the first couple of days when we met. Some days she would just send selfies of her looking pretty, and one message said she'd gone shopping for a new dress but didn't have enough budget, which I ignored. Just over a week after we'd first met, Chris video called me for the first time, said she wants to be with me. Had seen my profile on Tinder, which obviously prompted her to call me. We chatted for 45 minutes. I asked her plans for the future, said she wanted to study criminology to stop other females coming close to me. The German guy had wanted to have a child immediately with her, but having only given birth to her daughter 6 months earlier, she wasn't that keen. I said I was going to Japan and would be away for a couple of months. Stay in contact with me, she said. I'm 63, I said. I don't care. I want to be with you, she affirmed. Just to clarify, Chris was 20, had a 6-month-old daughter, no job. I wouldn't just be looking after number one anymore. I'd have 2 mouths to feed, providing for Chris and her daughter. Did I want that? 4 days later, when I video called her, Chris said she was doing housework at her brother's in Iligan City and showed me a neat pile of clothes laid on the bed. Said she'd call me back when she was finished cleaning. Well, it must have been a pretty dirty house, as it took her 4 weeks to message me back. It was now mid-July. when a text came out of the blue. "Where are you? Can we meet? Can you meet me now? With my baby, please, I have big problem, please, hey." "What's wrong?" I responded. Chris said her sister-in-law had thrown her and her daughter out the house, accusing her of destroying her brother's business. "I'm planning to go hotel, but no budget. I want to stay again, the hotel. You remember, right? If you want me to be with you, just say it. But now, please, I want your help. Please help me to stay hotel 3 days only, please." So if you like what you're seeing here, hello, and want to stay connected with life in the Philippines, I think you need to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. Chris sent me a 4-second video of her clutching her daughter in what looked like a room with her phone plugged into a socket and an electric fan above her. I was in Tokyo. Told her, "I'm not in the Philippines at the moment." "Okay, sorry to disturb, I will continue to walk," she responded, which didn't make any sense as the video she'd just sent me showed she was inside somewhere. So I wasn't sure what the truth was, nor was I overly concerned. Said if I was in the Philippines I would have helped her. "You know any other people in Iligan?" I asked. "Yes." 3 days later I messaged Chris again to check up on her. Said she was now at her father's in Bukidnon, was not feeling well, felt alone and wanted to move out of there. Towards the end of August, a month later, Chris messaged me. "Marry me," she said. "I like you. The first time I saw you, I like you," she continued. "Am I not too old for you?" I asked. "It's not about age. I like you very much," she responded. Strangely enough, Chris's text had come on one of the days whilst I was swiping left on the dating websites and had come across her profile on OkCupid. So I assumed that, like the previous time she'd seen my profile on Tinder, seeing my profile on OkCupid had prompted Chris to message me. It appeared that Chris was as active on the dating websites as I am, although presumably swiping right more frequently than I do. The following week I sent Chris a selfie from the airport as I was leaving Japan to fly to KL for a medical checkup. Said she had a cold, a headache and was hungry. A further 5 weeks went past without any contact between us. It was now the middle of October and I was back in Mindanao and back again in Iligan City. In fact, I'd returned to Vaqueto's place, the guest house where we'd both been staying when we first laid eyes on each other 4 months earlier. But when I walked into Vaqueto's, I discovered it was now closed, as Faye, the lovely lady who managed the place, had tragically recently died from illness. I immediately texted Chris, "Hey, you remember the place where we met?" "Yes, I want to stay there again, but with you," she said. I told her the sad news about Faye's passing. Chris said she'd discussed her situation with Faye saying she doesn't deserve a guy like the one she's with. "Maybe you deserve the other foreigner who's here, i.e. me." I asked Chris if she'd had any dates. She said no. We video called each other. Chris was still at her father's house in Maramag, just south of Malaybalay in Bukidnon. My plan was to travel from Cagayan de Oro to Davao, stopping off in Bukidnon on the way. Said she'd come and meet me in Balai. I thought it would be great to meet her again. But did I really want to get involved with a 20-year-old with a kid? No. So I was in two minds about meeting up with her. If she came and stayed with me in Balai, I would be leading her on. So I delayed messaging her. Arriving in Balai at the beginning of November, 2 weeks later, I didn't contact her. Decided that as much it would make a great YouTube video showing how a stunning Filipina of 20 wanted to marry me, it wouldn't be right.
Just a quick reminder to please click the thumbs up button if you liked the video, or thumbs down button if you didn't. Obviously. Thank you.
I left Balai without contacting Chris, with the bus driving through the small village of Maramag as I continued my journey to Davao City. At the beginning of December 2024, I was back in Manila. We weren't friends on Facebook, nor followed each other on Instagram. We just exchanged messages on WhatsApp. But I'd check out Chris's posts from time to time, saying on her profile that she now dated to marry, that a foreign guy was the best option. Chris didn't really know much about me, nor knew I had a YouTube channel. All she knew was that I was from England and was 63, although she didn't believe that. I can't recall exactly when I was scrolling on Facebook or Insta and came across Chris's new postings. Had recently uploaded a new video showing us around her new pad that was being renovated, with words of affirmation and love for Steve, a fat middle-aged foreigner. And there they were, the happy trinity entwined in her Facebook profile photograph. An old foreigner who hadn't dilly-dallied had quickly decided this pretty 20-year-old single mother with a year-old daughter was well worth laying down roots with, and he'd gone for it, joined a ready-made family. One post shows scans of an unborn child already on the way, and then I checked the dates. On 26th of October, he'd made a Facebook post saying he was heading to the Philippines the following month to meet her for the first time. 12 days earlier, on the 14th of October, Chris and I had video called each other when I told her about Faye's passing, and she'd said she wanted to stay again at Vacuato's place, but with me, and how she hadn't had any dates. That was the last day we ever had contact together. 12 days is a long time where desperate Filipinas are concerned. She'd found her foreigner husband. Chris had cast her net wide, searching for a lucky guy to come to the Philippines to save her from poverty and provide for her. Her Facebook profile now lists Chris as married. My advice would be, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You need to chat to a few to find the best fit for you. But don't think for a minute you're the only one she's talking to. Is she the only girl you're talking to? No. If she asks if you're chatting to other girls, you can either lie or tell the truth. Don't let her shyness and innocence fool you. Filipinas are master manipulators. Lie religiously, so learn from their game. Be quick, guys, you need to act fast. If you dwell too long considering the pros and cons of snapping up a pretty single mother without income, somebody else will. Don't hesitate, 'cause her love won't wait. Cue for a song. Over to you, Peter.
I'm not gonna be there for you. Cause you were never there for me. Don't go ask me what you did wrong. Ignorance will never see. No, wasn't it for me? Why don't you just let it be? I gave you 1, 2, and 3 times, not wasting my good. Why's you're not on your knees? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? I'm not gonna be there for you. No, can you hear me when I say I'm tired of being no one? Something used to thrown away, yeah. Oh, what's in it for me? Why don't you just let it be, yeah? Cause I gave you 1, 2, and 3 times, not wasting my good. Why's you're not on your knees? On your knees, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Oh, what's in it for me? You only got 1 life to live, so don't waste them on these douchebags. These douchebags. These douchebags. Ooh. I gave you 1, 2, and 3 times, not wasting my good. Why's you're not on your knees? What's in it for me? Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Why don't you just let it be? Oh, what's in it for me? Kinda wasting my good. Why's it not on your knee? Oh, what's in it, baby? Just say what's in it for me? What's in it for me?
You've been watching Uncle, the man from Bigg World Cinema. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends.